Hi everyone, and welcome to the first chapter, Incorporation of a Business. Now, in this book, it is from page 1 to page 40. That is what we are going to discuss. Now, what is a small business? Now, the definition differs according to whom you ask, but generally, what is considered to be a small business is if a business is having less than 100 employees in a manufacturing sector or less than 50 employees in any other sector apart from manufacturing, then it is considered to be a small business. Then, if a business has revenues that are less than $5 million for manufacturing sector and less than $2 million for any other sector, then it is considered to be small business. Now, it's a Canadian small business, so it has to be located and operated in Canada. So, for all our discussions henceforth, we'll be discussing about a small business, means 50 employees if you're not in manufacturing sector, less than $2 million of revenue, and you're located and you're operating in Canada. Now, as a small business owner, you have to be worried about different laws in Canada. Now, just we are not lawyers, and I don't intend for you to be lawyers too, not at least in this course. But there are two kinds of laws in Canada. There is common law and there is civil law. Now, common law applies to all of Canada except Quebec, and civil law is applicable in Quebec, and except Quebec it does not apply. So Quebec follows civil law and rest of the Canada follows common law. Now, common law is an English system, civil law is a French system. Now, what does common law mean? Common law means any case is decided based on decisions different judges have given in the past. So let's say you are going to a court for some small business dispute. Now, as a small business owner, your case will be decided based on similar judgment, right? Based on judgment on similar cases that have occurred in past. So let's say you have a dispute with your gas provider. You're a restaurant owner that works on natural gas, and you have a natural gas contract and you have a dispute with a gas provider. If you go to the court will decide your case based on some judgments that are done by courts, like different courts in similar situations. So common law builds on cases. So one case is decided, that forms the backbone of the second one. So it depends on that. Then civil law depends on the judges, the jury's interpretation of different laws that are written by the legislative body. So the legislations, like the local politicians, the state politicians, the federal politicians, they come together and they form laws, and civil law is based on interpretation of those legislations. Most of the times common law and civil law give similar kinds of judgments, so you don't really have to worry about it, but you need to have in mind on what is happening. Then, based on, like, if you look at different laws and different cases that have happened in past, the biggest impact, the largest impact in terms of small business is because of a case that happened in England, that was Salomon versus Solomon and Companies Limited. So what did this case do? So this case did something that is wonderful. This case separated owners and companies. So it said that owners are separate entities and companies are separate entities. So what had happened is, this person, Mr. Solomon, started a company, and the company was doing well. Then company piled on some debt. Okay, it also borrowed money from Solomon himself. So Mr. Solomon also gave some debt to that company. Now then this company went into troubles and it was on the verge of bankruptcy. So Mr. Solomon sued his own company, the company that he had given debt to. He sued his own company. Now the other debtors, other people who had given loan to that company, they were offended by it. Like, how can you sue your own company? So then they went to the court, but the courts decided that a person can sue his own company because there is separation between a person and a company. So if you have an incorporated company, you as a shareholder are different than the company that is incorporated. So companies that have incorporated have separate legal entity. So this is important, and it's given beautifully in the book. So I would highly urge you to read it. But the bottom line is this case determined something that is very crucial. This case set a precedent. What was the precedent? That companies have, like incorporated companies have separate legal, and they are separate legal entities. So a company is a separate legal entity. So it can get into a contract, it can take on debt, it can do whatever a person can, except maybe vote in the political elections. Okay. Now, what are the different ways of carrying out business? So there are different ways. You can start a sole proprietorship. So sole proprietorship means you are doing your business on your own. So there is no separate distinction between you and the business. Whatever the business does is you doing it, and whatever you do is business doing it. So there is no separate distinction between you and your business. Okay. That is sole proprietorship, and we'll discuss this in greater details, but there is no separate legal distinction between you and your business. Partnership is two or more people getting together to do a business. Again, there is no separate distinction between partners and the business, right? And finally, you can incorporate your company. You can establish your corporation or a company, which means you are putting a separate legal distinction. You are different and your company is different. You may own the company, but the company has separate legal entity. So in the first two cases, sole proprietorship and partnership, the business and people are not separated. Legally, they are the same. But in corporation, in the third case, there is separation between those who own the company and the company itself. Now, what is sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship means a person is doing business on his own. That is sole proprietorship. Now, setting up a sole proprietorship, I'll show you the Alberta example. In your assignment, you will find that you have to write a note on what is the process in BC. Now, before we go there, what is sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship means that I am setting up a business, I am going to run it, and whatever money I make, whatever profit or loss I make, that is going to belong entirely to me. So you are doing a business and business is run by you. So there is no separate distinction between you and your business. That is sole proprietorship. Generally, that is how all businesses start, except unless and until you're starting a partnership. But most of the businesses start as sole proprietorship. You start your business by starting to do business as a sole proprietor. Now, how to get it registered how to set it up in Alberta? I'm going to show you the details of Alberta, and your assignment is to write a note on process in BC. So in Alberta, we have something called as registries. Now this is important. Sole proprietorships are generally registered provincially. So whichever province you are under, let's say you're in BC, you will register it in BC. If you're in Alberta, you will register it in Alberta. If you're in Ontario, you will register it in Ontario. If you're in Quebec, same way you will register it in Quebec. So it's a very easy process in Alberta. I have done it, so I know about it. So sole proprietorship, it's a simple two-step process. First is you find trade registration, trade name registration. That is, you register your sole proprietorship. So every business needs to have a name, needs to have a unique name. So you have to register your name, and once you register it, you register the company under that name. So it's a simple process. Find out whether the name is available. Sometimes the name may not be available. For example, let's say I'm starting a company called a Small Business Limited. Now we need to check whether that name is already being taken or not. If that name is being taken, you have to change it. But if that name is available, then you can use it. And there is a application form to find out whether the name is available or not. And how to register a sole proprietorship? Complete the declaration of trade name form. Provide one piece of government photo identification. Mostly it is driver license. Complete the online registration form, which is very easy, and pay $60 of fee. That's it. It's a very simple process. 4 steps: find the name, provide the ID, register your business, and you can start working. So very easy in Alberta. Your assignment is to find out what is the process is in BC. Now, what are the advantages of registering your business as a sole proprietorship? So you can start your business right away. The process is very easy. In Alberta it takes 48 hours to do it, and it is mostly online. So it's very easy. You can start the business right away. It is inexpensive. It is not very costly. You can have other employees, but you cannot employ yourself. So when you register your business, you can start having employees. So if I have a restaurant, I can start having, let's say, people who are serving food, people who are cooking food, cooks and the servers. I can start recruiting them. I can have them on my payroll. So that's the advantage. You can have employees, but you cannot recruit yourself. So you cannot take a salary from a sole proprietorship. Then all benefits belong to you. So whatever profit the business makes, that profit will be straight away going to you, and it will be taxed at your tax rate. So if I'm in 30% tax rate, I have salary along with my business. So whatever income my business generates, that will be taxed at my tax rate. Important point: business losses can reduce your personal income. So if you're suffering losses in business, you can set that loss from your personal income. It is easy to start and it is easy to wind down. So when you want to close your business, it's a simple process to again close it down. What are the disadvantages of doing this, like doing sole proprietorship? The obligation belongs to you. So whatever debt you take in the business, that will all belong to you. Okay, so if I take a credit card of $5,000 and if I don't pay it back, so that debt it belongs to me as a person, not to the business. Then if I take on some lines of credit, all of them belong to me. The liabilities are unlimited. So if my business gets sued, right, so I will be personally accountable for that lawsuit. So let's say I'm running a small restaurant, and someone gets food poisoning because they ate in my restaurant and they sue me. So I am personally liable for that lawsuit because that business is the same as me. You cannot employ yourself, so you cannot draw a salary from that. You can take business income, but you cannot take salary. Individuals are taxed at higher rate than companies, and since there is no distinction between business and you, the tax rate for sole proprietorships are higher than incorporated companies. Federal and provincial grant may not be applicable. Most of the provincial grants and federal grants that are given to businesses, they require incorporation. So you cannot have a sole proprietorship and apply to those grants. Some grants are still available, but most of them are not. Certain business arrangements require incorporation. Now this specifically applies if you're doing a franchisee based business. So if I'm starting a franchisee of Tim Hortons or McDonald's, then these big companies want incorporated businesses. So they don't go for sole proprietorship. So then you have to incorporate it. When you stop doing business, the business ceases. So if something happens, so me and my business are not two separate things. So if something happens to me, the business closes down. Okay. Next is partnership. So what is partnership? Partnership is two or more people coming together to do business. Two or more people coming together to do business. Now setting up a partnership, we'll see an example in Alberta. In the assignment, you have to write a note on how it is done in BC. So let's go to corporate partnerships. It's also easy. So find out the business name for the partnership, right? Then do a article like partnership articles. So partnership agreements, and submit that agreement, and $60 fees, and you register it. So it's also simple. Find out the name you want for the partnership. If it is available, you take it. If it is not, then you change it. Then write down a partnership agreement in which you put out roles and responsibilities of different partners. And third, register it online by filling out this and provide identification, and that's it. Okay. Now there are two types of partnerships: general partnerships and limited partnerships. So general partnership are exactly like sole proprietorship. In it means that there is no legal distinction between partners and the business. So whatever business does, whatever income the business does not generate, it goes to the partners. Whatever debt the business takes, that also goes to the partners. So general partners are partners that are not separate from the business. They are responsible to run the business. So benefit goes to general partners as well as obligations also go to general partners, and they're personally liable. Now, what is limited partnership? Limited partnership means a partnership can take on external investors. Now, if investors are coming into partnership, they generally come as limited partners. Limited partner means they are not responsible for anything except the money that they have invested. So maximum loss that they can suffer is money that they have invested. Now, example for that. Let's say me and my friend. So let's say my friend is Alex. So me and Alex start a business. We are doing it as a general partnership, and we start the business. It's doing well. It's growing. Now we require an external investor. Now that investor that is coming in, let's say it is Caitlin. Caitlin is coming in as an investor. Now Caitlin would come in as a limited partner. Okay. She's not interested to run the business. Me and Alex are running it. So we are general partners. She is coming in as a limited partner. So she will be only responsible for whatever money she puts in. So if she gives us $1 million as funding and takes some shares in the partnership, so her responsibility is only $1 million. So if the partnership closes, she can maximum lose $1 million. But if the partnership closes and there is a lawsuit, me and Alex, who are general partners, will be liable for the complete lawsuit. So there is little safety that is given to limited partners. So let's start. Setting up a partnership. So do the partnership agreement. So partnership agreement is roles and responsibilities of different partners. Then decide on a partnership name and get relevant licenses you may require to do the business. So let's say you're starting up a plumbing business, then you may require plumbing licenses. Let's say you're starting a freight business, then you may require licenses for transport. So you need to get the relevant licenses. What are advantages of partnerships? You can start it right away. It's very easy to start. It is relatively inexpensive. Same fees as sole proprietorship. It can have employees, but you cannot recruit general partners in the business. So whatever partners are there, they cannot take a salary from the business, but they can have other employees. All benefits belongs to partners personally. So whatever the profit the business generates, they will go to partners. And how much will each partner get, that will be decided in partnership agreement. So let's say me and Alex take 50% is given to me, 50% is given to Alex. When Caitlin comes in, both of us give 10% to Caitlin. So we have to form another partnership agreement in which 40% goes to me, 40% goes to Alex, and 20% goes to Caitlin. So that's how you do a partnership agreement. Income earned is attributed to partners personally. Disadvantage: any partners can get into obligations. Now this is little problematic. So whenever you form a partnership, you need to have very high level of trust, because if partners takes on debt, right, for the any partner like me and Alex, anyone can take debt on behalf of that partnership. Now if one person does that, the other person may have to pay, right, if the debt is not paid back. So any partners can get into obligations, and that can be dangerous. So you need to have high level of trust whenever you form a partnership. Just as benefit belongs to each partner, so do all the obligations. Your liabilities is unlimited. Unlimited means if the partnership is sued, both me and Alex may have to put our personal assets online to pay that lawsuit. A partnership cannot employ any partners if they are general partners. A partnership is not subject to tax, but you are. So partnership will not pay tax. All the money will be given to us, like it will be attributed to the partners, and then the partners pay tax on that. You may not be eligible to federal and provincial grant because most of the grants require that you incorporate a company, you form a company. Dissolving a partnership is more difficult than sole proprietorship because you need to have consent between different partners. A partner who is dissolving the partnership has to give some notice to the other partner. So it is little difficult than sole proprietorship. Limited partnership, it's a special partnership in which you only come in as an investor. So you are not personally obligated towards that partnership. Setting up it is little difficult. Limited partnership setting up is little difficult. What are the advantages of limited partnership? Limited liability. This is the biggest advantage. So you are not liable for the whole partnership. Your only maximum loss that you suffer is only the amount that you have put in. So it is like getting involved as a passive investor. So you just give your money, but you cannot run the partnership. You are just a passive investor who is giving money. You can have options to have employees. There are potential tax benefits, but that is little out of scope for limited partnership. Disadvantage, there is a lot of hassle to do it. Limited involvement is biggest disadvantage. You cannot be involved in day-to-day operations of that partnership. So that creates a lot of problems. Limits to limited liability. So we have discussed you're only responsible maximum extent for the money you have invested. So if Caitlin is putting $1 million in me and Alex's partnership, she's only responsible for $1 million. Now that applies only to the province that under which the partnership is registered. So if we do business outside Alberta, we are based in Alberta, and if we do business in BC and someone from BC sues us, then Caitlin will also be responsible along with us. Okay, so that's the biggest disadvantage, that partnerships are only recognized in the province that they are in. So limited partnership, the limited aspect of it is only recognized in the province in which they are registered. There is obligation to renew limited partnerships. Every few years you have to renew the partnerships. Then there is lack of access to different types of funding. It is not easy to get government and federal grants when you form a limited partnerships, and it is difficult to dissolve because you need consent from all partners. And final thing, companies or corporations. So what is a corporation? Corporation is where you incorporate a company. Incorporation means you create a separate legal entity from yourself. So example, I am starting a business and I incorporate that business. What does that mean? So let's say my business is called as Amazing Tech. Okay, I am starting a company called as Amazing Tech. I am incorporating that business. What does that mean? That now I am separate from the business. So Amazing Tech, is its own legal separate entity. So I am an investor in that. I run that company, but I am not personally liable for the decision that the company does. Now there are certain caveats to it. Recently, like lot of directors have been sued, even though the company is separate from the shareholders. Lot of directors are getting sued for malpractices. So if you break the law, right, then you may be liable, personally liable. But that's a recent thing. If you are causing pollution and all, they go after directors too. This is the recent happening that has been done. But more or less, you are separate, the company is separate. Now, how do you set up a corporation? So incorporation is So first thing you do is you incorporate your company. What is incorporate? You choose your incorporating jurisdiction. So either you can have a provincial company or you can have a federal company. Provincial company can only operate in the given province. So each time you change your provinces, like you expand your business, you have to incorporate in that second province too. A federal company can operate all through Canada. Then you determine the share structure. Share structure means you determine which type of shares are you going to give to the founders. So is it common share or preference shares? Now we'll discuss this in future classes too, but common share means that you are participating in the growth of the business and you have voting rights. Preference share means that you are kind of a passive investor. You do not get voting rights. So voting rights is the major difference. Common shares get voting rights. You participate in the business decisions. Preference shares don't get voting rights. Now generally what people do is, let's say I'm running a business and my wife is also part of that business, but I don't want to give voting rights to my wife, assuming like she has a separate business of her own too. So I will give her preference shares and I'll keep common shares with me. Common shares have voting rights, so they can participate in major decision that the company does. Preference shares don't have voting rights, so they do share in the profit of the business, but they do not get, like, so it's like limited liability and general partnership. So I run the business, I participate in the decisions. Someone who has preference shares, they don't. Then how much voting rights are to be given? So who, let's say there are two or more founders, then how are the voting rights being divided amongst those founders? So that has to be decided. Then shareholders agreement. So shareholder agreement means all the shareholders agree that how the directors are going to be formed. Director is someone who oversees the business. So how are the directors are going to be formed, and what are the different, like, how long would the shares exist, what happens if the shareholders are not there, they die, and all those things are given in shareholders agreement. So second point, after choosing where you want to locate your business, provincial or federal, then you determine the share structure. You determine the type, common or preference, voting or no voting, determine how much each person gets voting right, and then do a shareholders agreement in which you choose your directors. Now if you are only one person and incorporating a business, generally what people do is, like what I have done, I am the director of my own business and I am also the shareholder. So I have 100% ownership in my business. I also am a director in my business. Okay, so I make the decisions. Directors are people who generally make the decisions. Directors generally appoint chief operating officers, CEOs, who run it. So in my small business that I run, I am the shareholder, I am the director, and I am the chief operating officer. So I run the business, I make major decisions for the business, and I also benefit from the business by being a shareholder. Chief operating officers run day-to-day operations, directors oversee major decisions, and shareholders benefit from the business. All three can be same. After deciding the share structure, you prepare and file for incorporation. So you do articles of incorporation. Articles are, what is your business all about? What is it going to do, right? So let's say my business is into education. So what kind of education it is going to provide, where it is going to provide it, and all such things are articles of incorporation. Then you have to do nuance report. Nuance report is finding out the name of your business. So is the name taken? So whatever name I choose, let's say we have chosen advanced technologies. So is that business taken? Can I use that name? Does any other business use that name? So all that is found out using nuance report. And then finally you do notice and consents between different shareholders. So this is setting up a business. Once you set up a business, you have to do organization of business. Organization means creating bylaws. Bylaws means what are the different laws under which your business would be governed. So what can you do, what you cannot do, what happens if two shareholders have disagreements, how is it going to be solved. All such things are put into bylaws. Bylaws means how the business is going to be operated. Then as a director, you have to conduct the first meeting. First meeting means directors generally call the meeting, shareholders are present in the meeting, and they decide on major decisions about the business. So directors first meeting and shareholders first meeting is to be conducted, and you have to maintain a minute book. Minute book means it is like a file that has everything about your business. It will have bylaws, it will have all the meeting notes, it will have different like financial statements, it will have everything that is related to the business. You have to maintain it in something called as a minute book. Minute book is nothing but a file folder that you have to maintain for a business. Now tax authorities sometimes audit your minute books, so you have to maintain it very diligently. So this was organization. That is, once you incorporate, then you do the organization, and then you need to do maintenance every year. So every year you have to call annual meetings. You have to do financial statements. We'll discuss what are financial statements and how to create them. But you have to create these financial statements every year. Then you have to do some required government filings. So you have to file your financial statements with the tax authorities. Then you have to update the minute book to if anything changes in the bylaws and stuff. So every year you have to do these things. Now, what are the advantage of doing all this work? What is the advantage of doing incorporation? The biggest advantage is personal protection. So your personal assets are not on the line. So whatever money you put into the business, only that you can lose. You cannot lose more than that. So your personal assets like my house, my car, my tax-free savings account, all these are protected from the lawsuits and creditors. There is limited liability and maximum flexibility. So when you incorporate a company, that company can raise debt. So it can take credit line, it can take bank loans. So you are not taking it. The company that you have incorporated can do that. It can get into contracts, it can get into sales agreements. So whatever. So all these things can be done by the company. So there is a lot of flexibility. There is potential tax benefits. So you can draw salary from the company as well as you can take dividends from the company. So there are benefits of taking salary. There are benefits of taking dividends, which we are going to discuss. But right now you need to understand that you can vary your benefits from the company so that your tax treatment goes down, your taxes go down. Option of employment with your own company. So company can recruit your services and you can get paid for that. Versatility is there. You can do different things. You can operate under multiple business names. So incorporated name would be one, but you can get into like create a structure where you create sub names. So instead of using incorporated names, you can use these names. There are potential corporate tax benefits. So companies are taxed at a lower rate than people. So if you have $2 million of income as an individual, you will be taxed at a very high rate. But if you have $2 million of business income as a company, then you will be the taxation is generally lower. Then there is transfer of business to others. That becomes very easy. You just have to transfer your shares. With sole proprietorships, it's extremely difficult. Same way with partnership, transferring your business is very difficult. But with a company, you just have to sell your shares to the new person or gift your shares to the new person. Disadvantage, it is very expensive to start a company. Annual documentation is to be maintained. So you have to maintain annual documentation. There is potential liability we discussed. Like there is protection. Your assets are not online until you break some law. If you break any law, then you can be personally liable for it. Business conditions, like if you're not able to pay your creditor, that's okay. But if you create contamination, if you break some law, if you do some illegal activity, then you can be personally liable. And it is difficult to dissolve the company. Dissolution requires a lot of work. Okay, so we'll also see how to incorporate a company in Alberta. So Alberta Incorporation. So they are giving, a corporation is an independent legal entity that exists separate and apart from its owners. Basically, the corporation acts as a person. It can buy, sell, own assets, including land. So a company can own land, company can buy machines, company can buy cars, it can make contracts, it can be sued, or it can sue someone. So all these things companies can do. How to incorporate your business in Alberta? Choose a business name and get an Alberta nuance report. So check whether the name is available, check then whether the name is distinct. So company names have distinct, like an Alberta corporation name consists of 3 elements. It should be distinct. A distinct element is unique word or location that makes your company name different from others. It can be descriptive. A descriptive element describes what the corporation does. And legal, an Alberta company are required to have legal elements. So you can choose all 3 to be same. So you can have a distinct, descriptive, and a legal name. Example, they have given ABC Supplies Limited. Like, you can use these extensions: Limited, LTD, Corp, Corporation, Inc., Incorporated. Professional corporations, if you are a dentist, you can use dentistry. If you are a legal firm, you can use law, medicine, etc. This is the fee for checking out the name, nuance report. So once you have name in order, then you do step 2, complete all the required application forms. So you write articles of incorporation, which decide share structure, restrictions of share transfer, under what conditions can you sell your share, under what conditions you cannot transfer the share, minimum and maximum number of allowed directors, rules and provisions, notice of address and notice of directors. So what is the address of your company and who are going to be your directors. And step 3, submit this application to the registry and you get incorporated. So that's it for this chapter. See you in the next recording.